Hey, so I haven't done like a collective reading in a while. I hardly ever do them. And I don't know. I've been going through some changes myself. So I'm gonna do a quick one for all my other pages and then I'll do a longer one for YouTube. So for my YouTube one, I'll just go more in depth. So for those watching YouTube, yes, this is a clip. For those watching from YouTube, you're just going to stay a little longer, and then if you want more detailed information, it'll be there. But I'm going to try to keep this under 3 minutes. So because there's a lot of change in the air, not just with myself, but with others who are in sync with me, I'm just going to do one card spread from each specific deck. So I'm starting with the Monology, because again, I mentioned change. We're also doing 5 different decks, because 5 is a number of change. So look at that. Done. This one is conclusions are within reach. So if you saw, they kind of came out in reverse. Conclusions are within reach. Full moon and eclipse. Now I was looking at my farmer's almanac today and noticed that it's actually under my phone, but there is an eclipse coming. There's an eclipse coming soon, so we'll talk about that. This one is the Work Your Light deck, because I am in sync with a lot of light workers, or those who help others navigate obstacles or changes in their life. So that's going to be our next one. All right, this one is don't dim to fit in. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So I'm going to put this back in reverse because it was reversed. Just like I remember to talk about it on the as needed. We're going to do the Kali one last. This one is the Wild Offering Oracle. One time. Doubt. Are you doubting this season? Excuse my nail polish. It's a long story. Not really. I was just lazy. It says, offering all to the divine doesn't mean negativity never arises, but you can say, free me from this prison of doubt. I cast this burden to you. Show me your will and restore me to faith and confidence. That's huge. So I'm trying not to get super personal on y'all, but again, this is for people that are in sync with me and may not apply to you. This one that jumped out. Coins. Abundance. Coins. Abundance. Last but not least, so I love them each for their own characteristics or how spirit communicates through them, but Kali is by far my favorite. I'm actually reading a book called Shakti. I can't remember the full length of the name, but if you're interested, I will upload a picture of it. But it's a really good book. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's a really good book. Kali, I don't want to mispronounce it. We're just going to say Mahamaya. It's gorgeous, right? Look at that. It's gorgeous. All right, so the conclusions being within reach is not a bad thing. I heard hold on to hope. So sometimes it'll look like a dream is ending, or a phase is ending, or something beautiful is ending, right? And it's kind of like that holding on to faith or holding on to hope and trusting that this is only a small part of the bigger picture. This is only a small part of the big story. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light? So sometimes we won't speak about the amazing things that are happening to us because of safety for different reasons, right? Sometimes because of doubt. But I think this has more of a double meaning. What are some things you're holding on to, or belief systems you're holding on to, or habits you're holding on to that don't serve you, that might be feeding into that doubt or us doubting, right? Or I heard, what is clouding your judgment? What is clouding your judgment? trust that it's happening. Abundance is on the way. Coins are abundance. And then the Kali card. Okay, so I'm going to read this. Now, here's the thing. I wanted to start off with a 4-card spread at first. 4 is a beautiful number. It's a number of love, right? It's also a number of balance. But I was like, no, 5. 5 would be a good change number. So then I got the number 4 of the card. So that's kind of beautiful how that worked out. So it says that the spiritual truth beneath all... Let's see if I can get it in here. There we go. It's a little blurry, but it says the spiritual truth beneath all appearances, the healing waiting to be discovered in all experiences, in harmony with your higher self. She manifests the path upon which you can best learn, heal, and grow. She is unclothed, symbolizing wild, unconditional authenticity. She is the empowerment to discard conditioning and judgments that we have worn. Cast off the fearless constraints others have imposed upon you. Connecting to your authentic being will attract healing, guidance, and divine grace to you now. So a lot of times when I do personal readings for people or like for myself, I'll pull a Kali card just because like sometimes one Kali card will summarize like a whole reading for like a client's confirmation, right? And so that kind of happened here. As you see, you saw me shuffle, you saw me pull out each deck. We got basically all of this here, right? So a lot of times people think abundance is only money, but sometimes abundance can be peace. It can be whatever, right? It could be flow. It could be solutions or answers. Sometimes leading to money, right? Like I literally had an experience last week where I got a text message from someone and it felt like I hit the lottery. Does that make sense? Like I was so excited to hear that news. That I'm not going to speak on yet, but I was so excited to hear that news. It felt like I literally hit the lottery. So yeah, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. So keep whatever is happening right now in your life. If it feels a little chaos-ish, trust that it is. But one thing I try to help people understand and hold on to your beliefs. This is not to criticize any specific path, like religious path or anything, but it's kind of ingrained in some of us that all the negative things happening in our life is the devil, right? It's the devil. And so here's the thing. Sometimes that chaos needs to happen to illuminate the darkness, right? Now you see here a full moon eclipse, right? Now the moon is about illumination. We just went through, like the full moon started on the 16th, right? And so sometimes it's not as dark as it seems. It's something happening behind the scenes to help you get ready for whatever beauty is coming your way, right? So don't hold on to things that don't serve you. Release it, but also pay attention, right? I know Spirit's been working with me on like trusting my intuition or trusting my gut, but also like not being so quick to hit the chopping block, right? Like put people on the chopping block, but also knowing when to detach or walk away. Sometimes you have to sit back and kind of look at the bigger picture, and that takes practice. Well, everyone has their different way of looking at the bigger picture, but I noticed that I started seeing a lot of red and white or red and black. So in my mind, I think of Eshu or Elegba, right? And so in my mind, that tells me, okay, Zenobia, it's about to get a little shifty in the atmosphere, right? But don't be afraid to pull back or speak up when necessary. Trust that this is for your greater good, right? And usually on the other side of that chaos or destruction, when we talk about Kali, right? Usually on the other side of that chaos or destruction, there's some form of abundance coming. It could be solutions to problems. It can be money. It could be a new position. It could be some blessing that I've either like completely forgot about or gave up on coming into fruition. Like ever since I was a kid, before even embracing my spiritual journey and like researching things for myself, I had always noticed this pattern of there'll be like complete chaos right before I complete a level up, right? So like when it was time for me to graduate high school, complete chaos. When it was time for me to graduate undergrad, complete chaos. When it was time for me to complete grad school, complete chaos. In fact, my dad passed away towards the end of my graduate program. My grandmother passed away while I was going through undergrad. On top of like I was homeless in undergrad, just all these different things, right? So I was like, okay, I already know what this is about. Like now, we're not gonna say how many years because it don't matter. But years later, here I am going through a shifty experience, and instead of fighting through it, trusting in your protection, I have recently experienced where my alarms was going off, and I looked at everything that was happening, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't go to this event, right? And did I listen? No. And so while it wouldn't have it wouldn't have prevented some of the things that kind of domino affected from it. Some of the things would have happened regardless, but it also wouldn't have that extra situation that came would not have been as stressful had I trusted my intuition. Now the flip side is, and this is where a higher perspective comes in, if I would not have gone, I would not have been able to assist in something that would have been a bigger problem for other people. So sometimes that's where that light worker deck, work your light deck comes in. Sometimes you may go through like a little setback or whatever, or you may go through something that feels uncomfortable, but through your growth and not dimming your light or dimming it in, you may actually help other people. You may help other people like soothe or solve problems. Now that doesn't mean stay with people that are causing chaos, right? That doesn't mean like be a doormat, right? At a certain point, is you don't want to be a martyr, right? You don't want to be a martyr unless you want to. That might be your goal in life. That's not my goal in life, right? I want to help people heal, but also want to enjoy my life, right? I want balance. So if your goal is balance, this is definitely for you, and I hope that this makes sense for you. But I love that Kali card, and I can actually, somebody said read some more of it, so I'll read some more of it because it's actually a few pages. So like there's literally like this page here, and then these two. Oh, okay. So let's start here because this is where my eye landed. I'm trying to show y'all. Either way, I'll read it. It says, authenticity keeps us dialed into our true purpose and passion. She protects the soul from conventionality that castrates, disables, and steals our creative fire. She is a divine disruption that provides needed, yet often unanticipated spiritual recalibration. So I don't know if you follow a bunch of spiritualists like I do, but a lot of people were talking about the energy that came with this new moon. And so I've noticed like with some of my clients and even with myself, this full moon brought a lot of like upgrades for some people, where they are either like more in tune or tapping into spirit a little differently, or spirit is tapping into them, right? Whatever you believe. And I noticed like I literally started my cycle on the full moon, and again, we talked about that event I kind of went to. I have been vegan since January, and sometimes out of like dimming my light, I'll give myself like a cheat day, or at events I'll let myself eat something that isn't healthy for my body, that might be different for somebody else's body. But at this event I had egg, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a couple days, that egg, it'll be fine. It was what's it, like the rice, I forgot what it's called, but like stir fried rice. And so it had egg in it. My cramps were insane. Now, when I had 2 cycles in a row where I did no cheating, no dairy whatsoever, and I realized even the popcorn I've been eating, it wasn't any butter in it, right? And when I say she came and I didn't even realize it, like I woke up, went to the bathroom, I was like, oh, you're here, well, welcome, right? But this time it was rough. So sometimes you hurt yourself more trying to fit into other people's standards and expectations, and that's not fair to you. And Spirit mentioned like sometimes you think that other people are holding you to certain standards and expectations, and it's not them, it's actually you, like you having to go within and deal with yourself. That's where like shadow work or therapy kind of goes hand, well, not kind of, goes hand in hand. Technically you can do shadow work on your own, you could do therapeutic exercises on your own, but there's also the benefit of therapy where you have someone walk through your journey with you. Some of my favorite clients, they actually do a lot of self-reflection, and not to the point where they're beating up on themselves, or we're talking about like those with anxiety or depression, but they actually will self-reflect, and then we'll talk about some things. And so maybe I could add some things to help them with clarity, or they just like, hey Z, guess what I realized about myself, right? In a loving, compassionate, non-judgmental way. And so, as you know, I do both readings and I'm also a therapist. And we're kind of, most of us are in sync here. I actually got some people kind of like what you would call graduating, where they're almost ready for termination or completion, right? And so it's just like the help that we receive, right? Or just like the problems that we experience, nothing is indefinite or permanent. It's all temporary. Like the discomfort is temporary. When we talk about Kali, right, she is like the one that puts on the pressure sometimes, kind of like with Eshu, right, where you say you want some help crossing this bridge. Okay, I'm gonna blow everything up, and you ain't gonna have a choice but to run across the bridge. Don't worry about what you're leaving behind. You just gotta do it, kind of energy, right? So I think that's kind of why them two are my favorite. They also remind me of my dad. Anyway, whole nother story. But I just feel like my main purpose and why I was called to do this, because I really did not feel like posting, because I'm like I said, I'm navigating some of my own challenges and changes, right? But I guess this is more of the perfect time to do it. Is I can tell you as I walk through this fire, so to speak, like, do not give up and keep going. You have no idea whose life you will touch. You have no idea who you will reach. You have no idea what changes you will create in the world. You have no idea what seeds you've planted. It could be a long time ago that are sprouting and growing, right? And so just keep going, and you will walk into some form of abundance. You will get answers to questions. You will get assistance. You will like call in your soul tribe. Maybe this is related to you and you're having trouble finding friends, right? Trust that the work that you're putting in, right? Because this was in reverse. So trust that the work that you're putting in is still in motion, like it's still unfolding, right? And the opposite of an eclipse is what? You get the full light, you get full illumination, right? So that the darkness is going to clear away because you've been releasing some toxic habits or traits. I heard self-doubt, right? Do not be afraid to stand out. You don't always have to be obnoxious to stand out. Sometimes standing out looks like being quiet or operating when other people try to discourage you. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I took a position, a weekend position somewhere, and I'm really not happy about it, but I'm grateful. And so in this case, you know, a person was being very discouraging regarding me kind of going extra for some of the clients, right? Where I'm at. And, you know, obviously I'm not going to say the name of where I'm at right now, but I went and did some extra stuff for some of the clients, and they were like, oh, I don't know why you would do that. Most of them don't care. And I don't know why you would waste your time. It's just going to be paper all over the place. And I don't know why, like, just constantly. I mean, she would not let the fuck up, right? She would not let up. And I didn't argue with her. You know, I just reminded her, well, I talked to everybody. This is what they wanted. So this is what I'm providing to them. And people after the sessions will be like, thank you so much. You know, knowledge, I literally had one guy say, like, knowledge is everything, and now I finally know what that means. And another person was like, you know, I wasn't even serious about this process or this program before, but I'm ready to hear the information now. So had I listened to her, I wouldn't have had that experience, and they wouldn't have had that experience, right? And I didn't get nasty. I didn't argue with her. I just said, hey, this is what they asked for. This is what we're going to talk about. And I continued with the program. I continued with the process. She even walked in and saw the stuff out that she was trying to discourage me from bringing, and people all had them. And I made it completely optional. I was just like, it was sitting on the desk. Hey, if you want this information, it is here for you. I'm not going to force it on anybody. Everybody just about took some of it. And so she got to see that. I didn't tell her to, I didn't call her in. I really feel like that was a God thing. Like, she was meant to see them participating and holding that stuff. Like, when Spirit says don't dim the fit in, that looks different for each person. Maybe this is your season of speaking up for yourself. Maybe this is your season of standing your ground. Maybe this is your season of not giving in to toxic energy. Maybe this is your season of, you feel uncomfortable when people gossip around you, and instead of just sitting there complicit or joining in a conversation, telling them you're not interested in that or walking away. Whatever it is, maybe this is your season of actually trying that business. Maybe this is your season of just simply believing in yourself, right? So whatever this means to you, please take heed and take this as confirmation. Don't doubt, and abundance is on the way. You will be rewarded, and you're protected, right? You're protected. So I love y'all. I do. I love y'all, and have an amazing day.